Normatec recovery systems give you a high-tech compression massage for warm-up pre-workout and recovery post-workout.
The technology is very safe and is used by a broad range of athletic types and really any fitness enthusiast looking to get the most out of their workout.
The whole idea is that we're using air compression to help increase circulation in the body. We wanted to mimic physiology, the way the body moves fluids. We went ahead and took a lot of those principles and put it into a system that you can use on your different extremities and your hips as well.
Normatec has been an industry leader in pneumatic compression, providing improved mobility and profound healing for thousands of patients. We continually work with researchers to study and develop the effectiveness of our technology.
It's all about creating that community space where people have a conversation around recovery and start really challenging their beliefs in what is possible and what they've known and maybe what could be.
The USA Cycling Foundation funds the Olympic dream and our nation's best young athletes, giving young riders the opportunities to compete at the highest levels of competitive cycling.
Riders who have represented the USA in the World Championships and the Olympics are an inspiration to all of us. The USA Cycling Foundation supports the complicated development process for these athletes. And that's critical not just for our best athletes, but also for developing the next generation of athletes. And this is only made possible by generous private gifts from cycling enthusiasts like you.
I am Taylor Wiles, and I'm a professional cyclist racing for Trek Drops and the U.S. National Team. The USA Cycling Foundation has supported me for nearly 8 years. The USA Cycling Foundation has been critical in supporting my career and helping me get over to Europe to race over there, and racing the World Championships, and the camps that we get to do to prepare for Nationals and World Championships are all supported by USA Cycling.
Hi, I'm Kate Courtney. I'm a professional mountain bike racer and part of the USA Cycling National Team and the current elite women's cross-country world champion. If USA Cycling hadn't supported me in my cycling pursuits, I'm not sure I would have had the opportunity or the ability to set my sights on really being competitive in Europe. Thank you to the USA Cycling Foundation for believing in me, for supporting me, and for continuing to encourage me and other riders like me to set their sights on the top level.
Please support our athletes and teams with a tax-deductible gift today. Visit our website to make a gift online. Your gift will fund training and racing development programs for our nation's best young cycling athletes. Please make a contribution today.
As an athlete, getting marginally better is one thing. Getting exponentially better puts you in a whole new ballgame. Biomoto uses a proprietary digital process to capture movement at 200 frames per second and 70 sensors per foot to measure ground-based forces, resulting in advanced motion analysis that's up to 10 times more accurate than orthotics. It's the data generated by this process that allows Biomoto to construct custom insoles that make athletes faster, stronger, and more stable, and result in an unprecedented 95% success rate.
All right, welcome to Echelon Racing League, the Momentum Indy Crit on this wonderful Saturday. I'm Frank Cundiff with Echelon Racing Promotions and Project Echelon, and I have a guest host today, Zach Gregg, also of Project Echelon. Zach, say hello.
Hey Frank, happy to be here, man. Super stoked to watch some racing.
It's going to be some fun racing too. This crit course is different than anything we've been racing the last several weekends. Flat and fast. No slowing down at all. I rode it the other day and there's no slowing in the turns even at 26, 27 miles an hour. Here's our map of the course. It's going to be 1.5 kilometers with 3 meters of climbing per lap.
So really it's going to be up to the racers to decide what kind of race they want to participate in, whether it's flat, fast, all out, time trialists, trying to make it difficult the entire race, or if we're going to have some really tactical sprint finishes with, who knows, 40-mile-an-hour sprints in some of these races. It's going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. This figure 8 course, downtown Indianapolis, part of the Indy Bicycle Festival. And yeah, it's going to be super interesting. I'm really curious to see how eager the fields are to chase everything down and how eager people are going to be to try to get away. I think it's going to be really hard for a break to survive on this course, and I do think we're going to end up seeing some sprint finishes.
I think it's going to be really interesting, yeah. Hopefully by the time we do this crit next year, we're going to be able to have some cobbles through the start and finish, because downtown Indianapolis has some really unique brick roads, and you can see it on the map right by Monument Circle, that are fun to ride in the dry and really terrifying in the wet. So hopefully we can bring that level of realism next year, but this is going to be super fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be great. This is our weekend 7 of 8 of the Echelon Racing League. The community events are always the weekend before the pro events. Today they'll be doing the Momentum Indy Crit, and tomorrow the Dirty River course and RGT Cycling Railroads course. It's a gravel race, essentially. Road bikes on dirt roads, which we all love to do in real life. And it's really cool because the traction or the rolling speed on the Dirty River course is significantly slower than a paved road, just like in real life, and that's going to be super interesting to watch. Next weekend we'll have the Tour of America's Dairyland not next weekend. The next race, March 6th and 7th, will be Tour of America's Dairyland, 2 days of crit racing in Wisconsin in the United States. It's going to be super fun to watch and even more fun to race.
Definitely, and Dairyland's actually announced their outdoor dates just recently. So hopefully we can get in the true Dairyland spirit and all chug a glass of chocolate milk after we race the indoor races on March 6th and 7th. That'd be fun.
That's always the best part of the America's Dairyland is you finish the race. The real race is 11 days long, crits every single day, and you finish the race and they've got kiddie pools of ice and chocolate milk and ice cream, and it is the greatest thing as soon as you finish a hot crit.
It definitely is. Yeah. And as someone who's a little lactose sensitive, it doesn't get any less fun, let me tell you, because everybody who's sitting on the sidelines loves a glass of chocolate milk. So just being able to hand that off to a fan or a friend or something, it's still just as fun. And yeah, can't wait to maybe hop in those races myself and see what we can do.
Absolutely. So, like we were saying, the community races are always the weekend prior to the pro races, and the top 10 from each day in the category 1-2 races for the men and women qualify for an invite into the pro races the following weekend. That pro calendar's shaping up. There's a few more days of racing on it than there is on the community event. We try not to put community events on weekdays because people work. And they're hard to get scheduled around work schedules. But our pro calendar here next weekend: Indy Crit, Dirty River, February 20th and 21st, and then the pro guys and women on March 11th through 14th. They'll be doing 4 days of America's Dairyland, and we're super excited to announce that we're also going to be doing some hand cycling races as part of Tour of America's Dairyland, just as they do in real life the last 2 days of the race there.
That is really fantastic. You know, I got to witness some hand cycling racing down in Florida last weekend, and man, those guys are absolutely fierce competitors. So to be able to provide them opportunities to race on a virtual platform is fantastic. So hopefully we can tune in and have some of those guys on the Zoom cams and really appreciate and observe what they can do.
It's going to be really great, and you know, it's really awesome. RGT Cycling has really leaned into providing a platform for these racers to be able to showcase their talent. Their RGT is working with Echelon Racing Promotions and a couple of the para-athlete groups to roll out a hand cycling avatar. We don't have a date on when that will be released, but it is being worked on, and we're super excited to roll that out and hopefully facilitate a hand cycling para-athlete race series here in the spring as we work through some details.
That is fantastic to hear. Yeah, representation matters. So kudos to RGT and all that are involved in making that happen. That's really exciting to hear.
On that note, I do want to thank all of our sponsors for making all of our racing and live streaming possible. RGT Cycling, our wonderful virtual platform that we put these races on, Biomoto, Hyperice, Saris, and as always, ZMS Livestream for providing the this wonderful stream and the cameras. And USA Cycling. I can't forget our partner, USA Cycling, making these community events possible.
Of course. Yeah. What a group too.
So we have our women going first. We alternate the women and men who start first every weekend. This weekend, the women will go first, and then on Dairyland's weekend, the men will go first, and the women will get the showcase spot. Looks like we've got, can't see. Looks like we've got 11 in the Cat 1-2 field and 4 in the Cat 3-4 field. It's going to be some good racing. Looking through these names here.
Yeah, it's going to be very crucial, especially for those Cat 3-4 women, that they work together and make sure that they're, attentive off the start. I see the race starts in about 90 seconds, so I see some power numbers and some cadence, which is good. Making sure that they're moving the legs and getting ready for that hard start in these crits.
Absolutely. It's really interesting when you the starts of these races. They start just like a cyclocross race. You'll see the little race starting in timer down in the bottom right with 5 seconds to go. It'll say start pedaling. Everyone kind of ramps up their power number and their cadence, gets it going, and you kind of launch out like a rocket. And if you're not ready for that, your race can be over before it's ever even begun.
and you've done a handful of these races. So are you going to start pedaling with 5 seconds to go, or do you kind of ramp up your effort?
I usually start with 3 seconds to go. I'm pedaling the whole time, usually right, after I do my warm up, sitting there doing 1.5, 2 watts per kilo, 150 watts or so. And then with about 5 seconds, I start ramping it up. And with 3 seconds to go, I'm shifting down a gear or two and getting out of the saddle and, getting that number up to 300 or 400 watts, so I can make sure I'm rocketing off with the group there.
Yep. So watch those power numbers on the left.
So there goes, start pedaling.
Yep. Some red numbers and boom, there they go.
There we go.
Oh, that's a tough effort.
We've got some big names in this race too, in the Cat 1-2. We do allow our professional riders to participate in the community races. They get to use these races to kind of recon the courses prior to the pro race weekends. And we do have a handful of them in this race. Holly Larson's in there for Velocity Vixen. We've got Britt Mason and Laura Matson-Co from Insured, presented by Pedal Power. Britt Mason's a local here in DC. Phenomenal rider in real life, also. Tremendous gravel and mountain biker.
Yeah, wow. It looks like everybody got off the start, and we didn't have any technical issues or anybody underestimating the strength necessary to get off the block, so that's good. Looks like some tactical racing already happening.
Yeah, no, it's really great. The RGT cycling, they have been working with the community at large to kind of fine-tune the physics and make sure the racing experience is, really similar to real life as possible. And so they've been refining. They just rolled out a couple weeks ago a new physics package to kind of make the group physics a little more realistic, and it's really just blown everybody away at how realistic and how awesome racing on this platform is.
So looking at these groups, it does appear that some of these women's team have multiple riders. So how is their strategy going to be different than someone like, we can see Baker in this group who is a solo rider? How are you going to be able to utilize a teammate on a course like this that's so flat and fast?
I mean, I really think, there's two strategies, I believe, right? Like, one is attack, take turns, you and your teammates. One goes up the road, and when the other riders chase and you get caught, your teammate goes up the road, and you just counter each other and try to whittle down the field and tire them out. And hopefully, over time, either the field will get small enough or people will get tired enough that break will go. Or it's sit in and, have your sprinter who's protected and then lead them out for the final sprint. If you're a solo rider, it's take advantage of those teams. If you have no teammates, everyone's your teammate, right? And you can utilize other teams' team tactics to your advantage.
Yeah, totally. It looks like I'm not quite sure what happened in the 3-4 race, but it looks like we're down to 2 riders in the lead group already. So these two are going to really have to focus on working together and just getting closer to that finish line before they start the shenanigans, the antics. This is almost like a breakaway from lap 1. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play off each other and whether somebody's pushing the pace and doing the majority of the work, or whether they're going to be sharing turns and sharing that load, because 35.4 kilometers to go is a long time if one of you is sitting on, the other has to do the majority of the work. Absolutely. And it looks like Lima's here. It looks like Bernstein might have had a e-mechanical, if you will. She has stopped 0 watts per kilo there. Not sure what happened, but hopefully she'll be able to get back out there and start pedaling again. Yeah, maybe it is if you're not used to e-racing, there's always, especially there's a bunch of storms on the East Coast right now. We're covered in ice here in DC, so it could be anything from an internet dropout to a power dropout.
like lights, and
right.
Unfortunately, you know, just like in real bike racing, you know, incidents happen, flat tires, drop chains, and in e-racing, it's your internet burps.
Right. Yeah. Looks like we got a series attack going on right here.
Yeah, this is a good move by Koi here. She is one of the community riders, and it looks like the field's doesn't look like they're really trying to chase too much here. You know, you got Larson and Sacho on the front there. You know, not really matching the effort that Koi has going on here.
Oh, here comes the surge. So you can see the red numbers in the back of the pack where, yeah, they're not liking the solo rider off the front. They want to keep things together, at least for this early part of the race. And there they come. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just like real crit racing, right? It's attack. I'll be curious, interested to see if a counter goes here once she is caught. And hopefully, you know, again, if attacks keep going and counters go, we'll see if the field hesitates and lets someone get a little bit more leash, and then see if they can't snap that rubber band.
Right. Yeah, and on a flat course like this, where your speeds are so high and it's so much exponentially more difficult to create a breakaway, it really is about just wearing the field down, you know, because nobody wants to miss out. Certainly 5 minutes into a race, you're not going to want to just watch the breakaway ride up the road. So it is about, you know, testing the legs and making people do a little bit more work than maybe they want to. And then those counterattacks start actually having some sting to them and create a little bit more separation than 2, 3, 4 seconds up the road.
Absolutely. This is a race where, you know, when as a solo rider a couple years ago, my coach would have told me, sit in for the first half of the race. You're not allowed to do anything until the lap board says 10 to go, just because we know, as fast as the course is and as eager as everyone is, everything that goes in the first half of the race is going to be brought back.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of a breakaway rider, you know, you really do have to weigh your options of when do you start trying to have an impact on the race, and when you just let things kind of like sort themselves out, everybody's excited, and, you know, maybe let other people spend a little bit more energy before you go to work and try and whittle down the numbers in the field. So that's a good point.
In the 3-4 race here, Eastman and Kirby still working really well together, rotating, taking turns, pulling. Lima there doing a steady effort there in third place. Bernstein hasn't dropped out, not pedaling yet. So hopefully, you know, she figures out what's going on and is able to get back on her bike. But Eastman and Kirby here are doing a phenomenal effort working together with 33.7K to go.
Definitely. And, you know, you hope that Lima can maybe catch up with them and work together over the course of this race, because it is a long 33 kilometers left. So if she were able to get up there and make that group 3, I think they could really have a little bit more fun and tactical racing in the finish. Oh, there goes Koi again.
Yeah, Koi is super eager to liven up this race and get away from this field. They're not hesitating this time, though. Laura Matz and Co. Quick to bring her back.
Oh, it looks like there's a little bit of separation, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like Laura Matz and Co. bridged across, but they you know, it's that whole get across and then stop working rather than just ride through. And then everyone looks at each other for a second. That gives the field enough time to bring you back.
Right, and I'm just waiting for the counterattack to start. You know, one of the things about crit racing, especially at the high level that these women are at, is that there's a flow to these races where when you bring back a breakaway, the speed will slow down to the whole group, and it leaves everybody vulnerable to a counterattack. So I think you're going to see more and more of that as the race goes on. We see everybody kind of at that steady 3.5, 4 watts a kilo right now. Nobody really able to get separation.
Absolutely, and Laura Matson-Co, I mean, she got second place in last week's pro Joe Martin stage race. She won stage 2 in the pro, and she's just a huge talent with a massive engine. You look at her number, and it's a little sneaky, but you know, when she gets up to 5.2, her number doesn't go red, which is crazy. Just how big of an engine she has.
Yeah, so if I'm in this race, that's the wheel to follow, I believe. Someone who's super strong and definitely experienced on the platform, experienced indoor racer.
Absolutely. She is definitely, in my opinion, the marked rider in this field.
Well, let's see. Yeah, and you can even see the speed differential of the two races, how much of a benefit it is to have that larger group rolling through these streets of Indianapolis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been kind of watching that speed, and you know, they've not dropped below 40k per hour except for this one little stretch that's a slight incline, and the rest of the time they're, you know, rolling at 41 to 44k per hour. Really putting out some big speeds here.
Yeah, it is super impressive, and for these two women to be rolling along at 35, 36k an hour just between the two of them is also is remarkable. You know, it seems like they really found a good rhythm between the two of them to share that workload and get close to the finish line before they start attacking each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think that's one of the fantastic things about bike riding in general, right? Is, you know, whether you're doing, you know, 30k per hour or you're doing 40k per hour, you know, everyone's out there giving it their all. And, you know, riding your bike can be as hard as you want it to be, which is really awesome.
It is. And after an effort like this, I bet Eastman and Kirby are going to recognize each other in the races to come. You know, like when you spend an hour with a breakaway mate or one or two other people for that, you know, that distance, that level of exertion, you kind of form an unspoken bond in a way. You look for them at the next race, and you're like, all right, that's someone that I can trust, right? That is going to put out the steady power and be a good teammate, even if we're on different teams.
Yeah, you know, that's one of those important things in real life racing and virtual racing where you don't want to, you know, if you get into the breakaway and you're not willing to share the workload there, you know, it can create a stigma. And you know, the next race that you end up in a breakaway with some people, they might recognize you as that person that doesn't want to share the load and will let you go. And as we say that, Coy with another attack. Wow. And they are, again, not hesitating at all.
And good on her for being the instigator, but it just doesn't seem like anybody wants to miss out just yet. So she needs some help in splitting this group up. So hopefully someone will attack over the top of her and continue the hard attacking style of racing.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. They're not letting her get a leash at all.
And really, on a course like this, you have to look for those spots where there is a turn or that slight uphill gradient where you can create that speed differential through other methods than just raw power, because that'll wear you out. You know, they're still moving at 35, 40k an hour. To get out of the group, it takes a ton of effort. And those really wear on the legs. So, you know, hopefully Coy can keep going and keep attacking, and maybe a couple other people will be motivated to join and help her out in splitting this group up.
And there's Coy and Laura Matson-Co there.
Looks like Coy's rocking the Marion University cycling bibs. And
I see that.
yeah, we like to see our collegiate racers or a collegiate alumni, not sure which one she is, joining in on the RGT racing. That's awesome.
It's always interesting to see people's pain caves where their racing setups.
Yeah, you think for her Palmars, Mats and Co could find some stuff to put on the walls, right? And yeah, it looks like Coy's in the basement, or the true pain cave. You know, no drop stealing there, which is very classic. But I couldn't see it being too warm in that room either. You know, no need for too many fans in Indianapolis if you can open a window right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you know, we myself and my girlfriend both ride inside Coy going again. Just not giving up here.
She has found her spot on the course, I think. there really is a rhythm to this where she just understands that this is the time to go. This is the good place in the course. Oh, and out of the saddle. Yep. That's a solid move. She is all in on this one.
She's got a good gap there. It'll be interesting to see if some of the teams that have multiple riders don't try to send someone up to bridge and join her.
Oh, and this is that painful part of the effort where she's really got to settle in and hope somebody joins her without bringing the whole group.
And Bree Clark, who lives in Indy, phenomenal bike racer. Before she retired herself, just let me know. It's Ariel Coy. She's a med student at Marion right now.
Oh, fantastic.
I think that's one of the really phenomenal things that you always learn about bike racers is so many of them have like just these insane, you know, careers or just you know, other things they do while balancing, you know, to race at this level, you know, training 10 to 25 hours a week. You know, Coy going to med school. Jackie Godby is another one who, I mean, she's, in my opinion, I call her the Matthew Vanderpool of e-racing. She just wins everything. And she's in med school. You know, Andrea Dvorak, who was a phenomenal pro racer for many years, was a practicing lawyer while, like, you know, winning Cascade Cycling Classic. It's really cool to see the level of ability just scattered throughout the peloton.
Right. Yeah, and you know, it just shows kind of the level at which bike racers operate. You know, if you're a good student and a cyclist, there's chances that you're going to be good at both, right? Because that's just the level that you hold yourself to and the standard of execution that you just expect for whatever endeavor you put yourself through. So no, it's awesome to see that Coy is doing some damage early and probably has to you know, hurry up this race so she can get back to the books.
Absolutely. You know, that's one of my favorite stories as a bike racer on Butcher Box. Spencer Movinzada is in med school, and he would fly to the Pro Crits, and we'd be at Athens Twilight and, you know, walking around grabbing lunch, and he's in the back of the team car with his books, you know, studying. And then, you know, the race finishes and we're going out for beers and pizza, and he's back studying, and then he's flying out on the red eye or first thing in the morning back to school so he can get back to it. And it's just the amount of dedication there is really awe-inspiring.
Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, super nice dude too, Spencer.
He is one of the nicest people on earth.
Let's see. Let's see if Koi finds her same spot on this next lap and goes for another flyer. If she's going to rest a lap in between the attacks this time. It's really fun, exciting racing. Hopefully, these women will stop giving each other a free ride back up to the breakaway and start creating some separation, because poor Koi is going to be really tired by the end of this race if she's the only one who's making these breakaway attempts.
Absolutely, and if you just saw, she just made her way back up towards the front of the bike race from sitting in the back, getting ready to launch. I'm imagining. Over in the 3-4 race, Kirby and Eastman still working really, really well together. They're really knocking the kilometers down in this, just a really great effort there.
Yeah, and it does. You can see the drafting effect on RGT where, there is a little bit of gap forming, but you can see that there is a difference in the power numbers that you have to produce to be on the front versus in the draft. And that's the green number up in the top left underneath all the other power numbers. And so as Eastman closes this gap down to Kirby, that number will increase until she's right on the wheel, and it's as much as 50 to 100 watts.
Yeah, and what's interesting is if you look on the bottom left of that little UI, that 180, 90 watt number, that is the minimum power she has to do to stay on that wheel and stay in the draft, whereas that 120 number on the right side is what she has to do to get around that rider. With her power number turning red, that's essentially saying that's the avatar hitting the e-brakes, if you will, and saying, hey, you're running into the back of this rider, and when that number goes red, you're wasting energy. You're pedaling your bike, but your avatar is not going anywhere, and to get around a rider, you kind of have to push through that to activate your avatar going around like she's doing right now.
Yeah, and these racers are so in tune with that, and they're especially in a course like this where there are limited undulations. They are not wasting any energy, and we could scroll to any one of these women, and that number is rarely going to be going red. They are very efficient, and you have to be, because the racing is very difficult at this level.
Yeah, it's a whole. We like to compare it with in real life road racing, but it really is its own discipline. There's particularly RGT cycling, because there's the putting out power aspect of it, but there's also a lot of tactic and thought that has to go into where you're putting the power down, how you're putting the power down, what wheel you're following. There's a lot of data on your screen. I mean, the riders are seeing exactly what we're seeing on the screen right now, and there's a lot of data to process while riding in a hard, fast crit, riding in the red.
And as we see, I think Koi might have made another breakaway while we were watching the other race, because she's just coming back into the group with Laura Matson-Co.
Yeah, it looks like Laura Matson-Co is not really trying to ride away from the field. She's not trying to get a breakaway going. It does seem like she's just kind of marking Koi, letting her go up the road, bridging up, and just sitting on her wheel and seeing if she can't catch a free ride.
That is the kind of savvy you'd expect from Laura Matson-Co. But yeah, I mean, just the steady power output that these women have to do to stay in this group is incredible. And I bet what we're going to see as the race goes on is that it's going to take its toll, right? 3.5, 4 watts a kilo is not insignificant power.
No, it really, these riders, they're used to doing efforts like this, but those efforts do wear down on you too. And I mean, these are legit power numbers from legit riders.
So if this attacking style doesn't produce a breakaway, who do you think is the strongest sprinter out of this group?
Oh, I think it's Laura Matson-Co. She's she's my pick for the win. Maybe Britt Mason. Britt's got a really snappy sprint as well as a mountain biker.
I always say that as Laura goes up the road. And there you can see it in the camera too. She's really pushing hard on those pedals.
She is really, she's just a powerhouse. And when she puts the power down, it's going to put a lot of people on notice. Yeah, you see her number there. She was just doing 5.5. Her number not going into red. When your power to weight number goes into the red, that means you're riding above threshold. You're kind of in that VO2 zone. And it's not when usually if you can see a rider's number going red, that's not a sustainable effort. And so for Laura Matsenko's number to be at above 5 watts per kilogram and not be red has to worry some racers.
Yeah. Especially in a course like this where she's able to recover in the field well below her threshold. That makes her a very dangerous rider.
And this is impressive. Bennett with a little counterattack once they caught Laura Matsenko there, keeping the field strung out. They're not slowing down. It wasn't a catch Laura and sit up type effort. This was a let's take advantage of it.
And I think you hate to team up and gang up on a rider, but if you let Laura come to the finish with you, she's probably going to beat you in the sprint. So for everybody in this Cat 1-2 field, it's going to be important for them to continue to attack and continue to play that role of the aggressor, and try and break this up into a smaller group and just hope that some riders miss out.
And Bennett there, she's an Indy local, so she knows this course. She knows how the course races, and she knows, when to take advantage and when, we're, like I said, with this being fast, she probably sat in. We're at the halfway point almost of the race, and she, was probably just biding her time before she was really going to put her face into the wind there.
That is very smart. And yeah, now that we're approaching the second half of this race, I think you'll see those teams and those teammates come into play a little bit more, where you're able to support your teammate by taking turns attacking and covering moves and allowing one person to be exerting themselves and one person to be resting. And it's almost fortunate in this race that we don't have one team with 4, 5, or 6 riders really putting everybody under duress. It's kind of a level playing field for most of these women, where they've got one or none teammates, which is nice. As this group is only 10 riders, you'd hate to have 4 on the same team and have that be a determining factor instead of just racecraft and savvy and raw watts.
Absolutely. There's Laura Matsenko going to the front again. She's also the, in real life, she's the 2019 35-39 cyclocross national champion. So definitely has some Palmares out in real life on the bike, as well as some phenomenal results in e-racing.
That is super, super impressive. So she's probably used to these snappy efforts and this explosiveness, and she seems really well-rounded from the races that I've observed her in.
Yeah, I imagine e-racing races very similar, especially on a crit like this. Probably races very similar to a cyclocross race, right? It's about a 45-minute to an hour effort, and it's jump, attack, short attacks, and then sit in, just at threshold or just below.
Right. Yeah, totally. It's the cyclocrossers and the rowers who seem to have a lot more success than you'd really anticipate, because cyclocross has such a handling component to it. And man, it's something about those rowers, just the raw power.
Absolutely. And the mountain bikers, for that matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, Matt Usborne in the men's pro races, just him and Ben Thomas, Olympic mountain bikers for their countries, Canada and England respectively, just obliterating the field, just massive power numbers.
Yeah, now we're seeing You know, the 40 km/h mark seems to be a real deterrent for people attacking. Even though this is like the one part of the course that has this little slope in it, the speed is just so high, it's difficult to get away through this corner.
Looks like Kirby yo-yoing a little bit off the back of Eastman there, but they're back together. Really still seem to be working really well together.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to give those two credit. I mean, for them to be only, a little bit over 3 kilometers behind the pro women's field just by themselves is really, really impressive. It's super strong work. And really goes to the effort and the amount of teamwork that they're displaying, just trying to get to that finish line. It's really cool to see. I'm sure they'll be sending each other messages after this, because you don't often forget a 2-person breakaway, especially an event like this. You know, if this was a real Indy crit and these two were off the front by themselves, that'd be a really special day out. So hopefully they're as stoked with this effort as you know you'd hope they'd be.
Especially a 2-person breakaway for 36 kilometers. I mean, that's a long day on the bike. And it doesn't look like anyone's really attacking right here, but someone's really... Oh, no, never mind. I say that as Sachio goes red and Laura Matsenko's up there with her. Gap's opening up quite a bit here.
Oh, this could be an important moment, yeah.
Laura Matsenko countering over the top of Sachio.
Oh, this is a serious attack. Yeah, the field is all strung out. It looks like maybe they'll have one more rider join them. Let's see if they can give it some gas and create some separation here.
Oh, looks like they're going to get brought back together. I'm curious to see if we see a counter, though.
Yeah, here's our early race
Coy
MVP.
with the counter.
Here we go, Coy. Oh man, that's really stinging. And we see one rider sprinting to get onto the back of that group. Hopefully they can connect. Otherwise, there's going to be 9 people left.
Yep.
Let's see. There goes another counterattack. This time it's Leonard. And you do get the sense that the alarm bells are ringing and everybody is on high alert right now, because this could be a really pivotal point in the race if someone's dropping the wheel during one of these attacks, or if someone really can find an opportunity to create some separation.
Yeah, you know, we've had, you know, a handful of counter moves off that original move earlier in the lap. You got to imagine people are getting tired, and you know, if there's another counter here, if not the next one, the one after that, one of those, you know, is really going to shatter the field, I think.
Oh, and as a breakaway rider, you just want someone else to do it for you. You know, like you don't want to be the one who's left hanging. And there goes Sachio again. Oh, this could be it. See, 10 meters of separation, 13 meters of separation. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Yep, she's got to stay with the effort and see what happens. It looks like there's a real stringing out effect in that group right now.
Yeah, the downside of attacking through that front stretch is that it's really hard to get away on that downhill section. It's not long, you know, and it's only -1.5%, but it's just enough to where that field's momentum is really going to carry over the top, and it's going to be hard to stay away.
And there goes Coy again.
And that's a great counter move by Coy. She's really getting some separation there. It looks like everyone kind of hesitated for a second.
That is textbook. She immediately got 30 meters of separation over that group using that little rise, and now she just got to hang on, give it another 30 seconds worth of gas, and just see if people can join her instead of pulling the whole group with them. This is strong. This is smart racing by Coy. This is great attack.
And you're looking at the power numbers, like there's a little bit of a swirl there, but no one's really putting out a big effort to get up to her.
No, there's definitely some reluctance, and maybe these lapped riders will give her an extra little aero boost through that corner and help her continue to create that separation. If I were any of these riders except Laura Matson-Coe, I would just let her chase. You know,
oh, absolutely.
This is an important time where you're trying to make your competition do the work for you.
Yeah, especially with Matson-Coe having a teammate there in Britt Mason. You know, I would definitely leave it to that team to do the chasing.
Yeah, and it seems like Coy is able to hold that gap right at 40 meters, which is, you know, a couple seconds of a gap, so they can still see her up the road. And so we're just going to have to see how they play this.
It'll be interesting to see if, oh no, Laura Matson-Coe got blocked in by the lapped riders. You know, that's one of the big things with RGT cycling is there is collision detection. And so you can get caught out. And Laura Matson-Coe said, I'm not getting caught out anymore, and sprinted to the front.
Fortunately, she just hit the nitrous there for a second, but man, that was that was a tense moment. You gotta stay on your toes when you're passing those lapped riders. You will get stuck going through a corner, much like real life.
You know, it's impressive. Coy here on her webcam and Matson-Coe both look super comfortable right now. Like Coy's not really dying on the bike right now. She's, you know, riding within herself, which is super impressive.
All right, is Coy counterattacking herself? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand the excitement. You know, Marion University is in Indianapolis, so for her, this is a hometown race. This is as close to real life racing as some of these folks are going to be able to get right now. So I understand the excitement and the sense of urgency, perhaps, but it's important once you get brought back from that break to not counterattack yourself, to make sure that you're recovering and you're staying on top of your hydration, because in an hour race, if you're just off the front, giving it the gas the whole time, you're gonna eventually start to pay for those efforts. So let's hope she sits in the groove for at least 10-15 seconds, waits till her favorite spot of the course next lap to give it another go and take some fluids on, some nutrition maybe. But I don't think that's the last we see of Ariel Coy.
Definitely not. I mean, we've got 12K to go. I think that's 8 laps. So, you know, we are getting down. We're less than 10 laps to go, and it'll be interesting as we get to the business end of the race here, how this is going to play out. I definitely don't think I definitely don't think these racers are going to sit in and wait for a sprint, though. We're going to see some fireworks.
Oh, let's hope so. This is this is a unique course on RGT because it is I think one of the more easy courses from a technical standpoint, where these riders can just kind of ride and they don't have to pay as much attention to course features and details as some of the other courses, which are very technically demanding. So hopefully we continue to see this attacking style of racing where they're not having to worry about braking or uphills or downhills, and it's just all about finding moments within the flow of a race to lay down the power.
Yeah, and Matson-Coe's been, you know, patrolling the front since Coy's last attack. It'll be really interesting to see if Matson-Coe is not the one that sets off those fireworks as we get down towards the end of this race.
Definitely. You know, in this course in real life is just about the widest crit course I've ever seen. I was watching some videos this morning of the course, and it is fantastic. It is a bike racer's course. It's flat, very wide roads, and I can only imagine the just density of spectators around the entire course and how exciting it must be for everybody because this race is probably averaging close to 28 to 30 miles an hour consistently for the whole race, because it's pretty decent road surface, it looks like, and it's just flat out, very wide turns. There's not a very restrictive section on the course, so it's just big power all day in that race.
Yeah, that's definitely a crit racer's crit course. It's just technical enough where you have to pay attention, but it's open enough to where you can really get the speeds up there and put out the power.
Definitely, and I think soon we're going to have to revisit the other course from Momentum Indy, which is almost the polar opposite of this course. It's very technical. It's tight. It's less than a kilometer long. It's basically two triangles sitting next to each other, and I think that would really display the prowess of some of these women with respect to racing RGT as a platform and understanding the physics, because you can't take a turn at 40 miles an hour. You do have braking pressure applied to you, so being really efficient and smart and understanding where to put the power down on a course like that could really show who understands it and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's really interesting. When we started the Echelon Racing League, we wanted everyone to get used to it before the first race of the series, and so we did a preseason race, and we did it on the RGT 8-bar Railroads course, which is a fixed gear course, I believe in England, and it's a super, super technical course. One of the insured riders, I want to say it was either Patrick Wally or Tom Thrall, but afterwards he said something about having tasting blood in his mouth. That copper taste you get from just going so hard and jumping so much, and it's just like a sawtooth graph. And yeah, it's super impressive to. And kudos to RGT for really being able to simulate crit racing as well as they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and looking at this Cat 3-4 race real quick, it does seem like Eastman is ratcheting up the pressure on Kirby here. I don't know if the pulls are getting shorter and she's just deciding to take matters in her own hands, but she is really, really throwing down the power right now.
Yeah, she is. So if you look at under her name, there's a color chart there. That little color bar indicates what zone she's riding in, and these are the Andy Coggin power zones that Training Peaks uses. Zones 1 through 5. Blue is zone 1, green is zone 2. Green is zone 3, yellow is zone 4. And then the burgundy and the red is zone 5 and higher. So yeah, seeing her, 4.6 watts per kilogram riding, zone 5. Yeah, she's not taking it easy there. She's not letting Kirby get a free ride for nothing.
No, and it is difficult when you only have one other breakaway mate to create opportunities to really attack and create that separation, right? So she's kind of taking the brute force approach and just trying to ride Kirby off her wheel, which is tough to do. I mean, both of these women are super strong and have been working really well together for the original, at least 20K of this race, and now it seems to get a little bit more touch and go between them, whether they're sharing the load or whether Eastman just wants to go solo.
Yeah,
I mean, at these moments in that race, it looks a little bit tougher than the other race, man. They're not cooperating at all anymore. I think that we're going to see a very pivotal split here in the Cat 3-4 women, whether Eastman is able to go solo or whether Kirby's just going to let her tire herself out and then go for the counterattack.
Yeah, I think Kirby is really trying to play the survive on her wheel, let Eastman, ride herself into the ground essentially, and then, jump her at the finish line at the finish. That's the negative effects of that brute force approach that Eastman is taking, is if you can't ride that rider off your wheel, you're putting yourself into a tough spot for the finish.
Right. And Kirby is just, putting on a clinic on how to draft and save energy. I mean, you can see Eastman is at 4.5 watts per kilogram, and Kirby is at 2.5 to 3. Oh, as we switch over, and Ariel Coy is just putting in the work again. This is fantastic.
With Bennett coming across to join her, these are some local racers that again know the course, most likely know each other and have ridden and raced against each other, and so they know when to chase, when to not chase, and when to jump across.
Yeah, as we say that, there's kind of a swell again. And you definitely got to wonder what the different teams' strategies are at this point in the race. We've got 7 kilometers remaining, and with them moving so quickly, they're going to run out of time to really split this group up if they're not motivated and determined to do it soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 7K, just under 7K to go. We're coming down to, I think when they cross the finish line or the lap line, they'll have 3 laps to go.
Wow. Okay. It's really, it's really getting to crunch time. And, for someone as strong as Coy, it might be a time to take a lap off, and go for that 2K to go flyer or that 1K to go flyer where she's able to create some separation while everybody else is gearing up for the sprint. That is a tried and true method to foiling the sprinters in a crit. So let's hopefully some of these riders are preparing for a late race strategy such as that, because that'll make for a really exciting last couple kilometers.
Oh, Kirby!
Oh, wow.
Kirby attacked Eastman. She did not wait for the sprint. Impressive move by Kirby. Eastman really having to dig there to get back on Kirby's wheel.
Oh, that just looks so painful. But good on Kirby. If they're not working together, then somebody's going to come out ahead on that exchange. And it just seems like Eastman was just doing so much work there for a little while, that Kirby was really able to take advantage when she kind of sat up to take a breath or take a drink or something like that, and was able to push on without her. So that's the 3-4 race is really gearing up to be an exciting finish too. And it's almost a gift in a way that they're separated by a couple kilometers of finishing time. So we'll be able to watch both races as they finish.
Absolutely. And just they just crossed the finish line in the 1-2. They have 4 to go now. And I've also just using my inside person for the local Indy knowledge, Bree Clark again. I have learned Eastman is a former track superstar. So if it comes down to a sprint, I think we know who's going to take it.
Cycling is a catch-all for these just absolute superstar athletes. After they've extinguished their flame in one sport, they come to cycling and they just really have a good time. They just kick butt, and it's awesome to see. So yeah, hopefully Eastman can bring out some tactics and maybe take a note from Coy's book and use that little riser out of that right-hand turn and create some separation with a couple K to go, because it seems like Kirby's just letting her do the work at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the great part of e-racing, particularly, with RGT Cycling, they have 2 levels of membership, basic and premium. Premium, you have to create Magic Road courses and create events, but you can participate in any event that's on the calendar that someone else has created with a basic membership, and the basic membership is free. The premium, I think, is $10 a month. And so the barrier to entry with e-racing is so much lower than real life racing. And, it really gives, it really has the potential, and it has proven that, it's allowed to kind of open the aperture to who is discovered as a real talent in bike racing.
Right. That's a great point. Especially, these people coming over from other sports. usually one of the big barriers to their success is not their fitness, but their ability to progress as a bike racer. You know, the timing, the steering, the tactics side of things. So when you put them in an environment like e-racing, it's easier for them to learn the tactics and things, because they're not so worried about steering their actual bike as maneuvering their avatar with that fitness that they already have. So it's really exciting to see the number and the quality of riders that have come over through e-racing into actual, outdoor racing. And we see the runners and the rowers and all these folks from different sports really, once they figure out the bike handling side of things, they have a lot of success with that fitness that they've just had for so many years in whatever sport that they're doing.
Yeah, and as we've done with the Echelon Racing League, particularly in the pro races, we've set it so that half the teams are real life racing teams and half are e-racing teams. And those e-racers specifically, some are real life bike racers and some of them aren't. I don't know if Jackie Godby has ever started a mass start race, but she's a triathlete world champion. And so, the hope is not only do we mix it up with real life teams versus e-racing teams and real life racers versus e-racers within the RGT platform, but also that some of these racers, get their interest piqued with real life racing, as successful as they are with e-racing, hey, I've won Indy Crit on RGT. I'm going to go do the real Indy Crit and just see how I can fare in the real life race.
Yeah, totally. And you would hope that, some of these folks go to Indianapolis next year and are able to ride over the bricks and feel the speed and be a part of the really fantastic experience that is Momentum Indy. And we haven't even, with 3 kilometers left in this women's race, we've kind of passed over all the great things that happen at Momentum Indy. But they have youth races, they have all kinds of events that are accessible to all people who are interested in cycling. And the proceeds from that event goes to support youth cycling in Indianapolis. So all in all, we can't urge you any stronger to participate in Momentum Indy, whether it happens in 2021 or certainly in 2022.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to actually racing a bike in real life again. I enjoy e-racing. I enjoy riding my trainer, but I do really enjoy races like Indy, or Gateway Cup, or any of the phenomenal races that we have in the United States, where not only do you get to, it's kind of like a family reunion, right? You're lining up against the same people every week. Get to give some high fives and say, hey, how's it going? And then just see all the fans, see everyone that comes out to watch the bike races, and gets to enjoy the bike racing itself.
Definitely. And we have about a lap and a half to go in this women's 1-2 race, and it seems like you can kind of see the teammates are starting to cluster together in the group a little bit more. Everybody's just kind of doing their turn to maintain the pace, and I think either it would have to be some superhuman effort for a breakaway to form at this point and stick, because it seems like everybody's kind of resolved for a bunch sprint at this point. And that could be commentator's curse, and I hope it is, that we just see some absolutely amazing efforts here in the last 1.8K of this race. But with the speed being so high and the way that they have tracked each other this entire race, I'm just not sure.
I'm hoping for that 1K that 1 kilometer hero.
Yeah, come on, Coy.
Right. Well, and we've got the Velocity Vixen girls, Holly Larson and them. We've got Sacchio. There's a couple riders, Baker, that we haven't really heard from as we come around for 1 to go now. Who they've been keeping their powder dry, and hopefully are waiting to start those fireworks.
Right. Yeah. And you can kind of see, going up into the red numbers, and either they're stretching the legs or moving up in the group to try and make sure that they're represented near the front while not being at the front. It's tricky with this duration of event left on a flat course. You really have to give it some gas if you're going to make separation happen. But you never know if that leader's power number drops very much lower than it is, it's going to open them all up for an attack. As you can see, Roncanian is surging to the front, but they get to the front and then they kind of let off a little bit. We're seeing speed's about 38k an hour. I was worried there for a second. If they drop down to 34, 35k an hour, it's going to be very difficult for them and to respond to an attack. So keeping the pace high, I think certainly helps the sprinters in this group. Now you can see they're opening it up with 650 meters to go. Yeah,
it's you can definitely tell by the surging that's going on within the field now, and the washing machine effect that's going on. It's a very anxious field right now, right? We got 500 meters to go now.
Yeah, and you can see Madsen Koh's represented near the front. She does not want to get boxed in at this finish. Numbers are starting to go red more consistently with 350 meters to go. And it's tough to call. Madsen Koh is so far up. I think
she's got her lead out there now. Britt Mason to lead her out.
Oh, there goes Coy.
Yeah, good.
This is a good
That's
move.
A good long attack. Let's see if she can hold it. 10 watts per kilo. Britt Mason trying to follow with Madsen Koh coming around her.
Yep, well done.
Excellent racing. Madsen Koh taking the win with Leonard, one of the local riders, taking second there, and then Baker taking third.
That is fantastic.
Coy did hold it for fourth. I do want to point that out. Impressive riding by Coy.
Yeah, we can say with a resounding yes that Indy came out and represented well in that race. That was fantastic, start to finish. Great attacking racing. And congrats to those local racers getting second and fourth, and Laura winning that race.
Yeah, it'll be really excited to see how Coy and Baker and them with their invites into the pro race and with the pro field. That's going to be 30 to 60 women. And it's going to be a really impressive race to watch.
Oh man, now we have some really tough last kilometers happening in this 3-4 race. Looks like Kirby has distanced Eastman, but Eastman is making some outrageous surge to get back.
And it looks like she's going to make it. That's that track sprint that Bree was talking about, right? She was 7 or 8 watts per kilogram for a good 20 seconds there, and it's still doing it. She went over the top and just kept riding. She's making Kirby work to get on her wheel.
She is, she's trying to utilize kind of a slingshot past Kirby to distance her. Man, I think I might have to retract my statement that these two are going to be looking out for each other and buddies after this race. This is tough racing. This is something else. This has been absolutely exciting to watch. And from a two-person breakaway the entire race, this much tactics and aggression is just fantastic. And for them to hold each other to this high level of exertion, they've got to be stoked with this finish, regardless of how it plays out.
Yeah, they're not necessarily flicking elbows to each other. They are throwing elbows at each other. It's a sharp elbows type breakaway. There's our top 10 for the Cat 1-2 women. Laura Madsen Koh taking the win. Emily Leonard second. Dylan Baker third. Ariel Coy fourth. Britt Mason fifth. Sachio sixth. Anna Ronkanen, I hope I said that right, seventh. Grace Bennett eighth. Beth York ninth. And Holly Larson 10th. Great racing by all of them. We will. We've got about 2 minutes to the start of the men's race. We will keep tabs on this women's 3-4 race, but we don't want to miss the start of the men's Cat 1, 2, 3, and 4 races also. And we will tune in for the finish of this race as well.
Yeah, we're gonna have the CMS crew is gonna be working overtime, tabbing between all the different races, because we do not want to miss the end of this women's 3-4 race. We're invested at this point. And you know, it just has been fantastic racing, and 5.5 kilometers to go, maybe 7 total minutes of racing left. You know, at this point, it could be a question between who's fueled better, who's got the best indoor pain cave setup, whether they're being cooled off by a fan or not. You know, a lot of factors go into something like this where, you know, of course, outdoor racing has its own list of requirements to be successful, but the indoor racing is its own thing entirely. So hopefully they're drinking their mix and having the food and paying attention to all those things that are happening, aside from them just pedaling their bike.
Yeah, and here's our men's starting grid. Cat 1, 2, 3, and 4, all racing in separate fields. Big numbers in these races. And they are off. And everyone in the red on the Cat 1 race, and Cat 2 race, and 3, and the 4 race. Just
It's
really...
Yeah,
no, I mean, they are not... This is not your... you know, it's a crit start, right? We're going out hard. And, you know, I think RGT races tend to race very similar to real life races. In that the first 20 minutes is just hang on and wait for the lull. If you can make it through if you make it through the first 20 minutes, you should be able to, you know, hopefully make it to the finish. And what we've noticed is
the hope, yeah.
And we've noticed these Cat 1 races and Cat 2 races usually have about the same speed. They, you know, our category system is a pilot effort. The categories are self-selecting. You know, we're working with RGT as well as some community members to kind of fine-tune the category system. And it'll be really interesting to see as that works out how the categories sort themselves.
Mm-hmm. You know, and all these folks are competitors, and they want to win and they want to do it correctly. So you're not seeing people catting down in a way. You know, they're looking at the requirements to be in a certain category, and if they fit, that's the one they go to. So nobody wants to be a off the back of the entire race, but they also don't want to blow out win. You know, they want to earn it. So the category system, in my experience on RGT, has been very successful in that, you know, we're seeing groups come to line in almost all these races.
Yeah, no, they've really worked themselves out really well. And yeah, kudos to the community for, you know, with it being a self-selecting category system. You know, 99.99% of the riders do pick the correct category, and if they think they haven't, they you know, they upgrade themselves the next race. That's the community's been really great with serving some fair racing.
Totally. You know, and in our Cat 1 race, I see a lot of the familiar names from the pro racing, where, you know, these guys are using this as a warm-up recon for next week.
Yeah, and we're back over at our 3-4 race real quick in the women's field. Eastman and Kirby, they've got 2 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go. We'll be sure to watch that whole last lap as we get in there, because, again, we're definitely invested in that race, and
we are.
I want to see how it plays out. I'm excited about the finish of that race. So we got John Hamlin picking up the power in the Cat 1 race. John Hamlin's the Project Echelon Pro Racing DS for e-racing, but has phenomenal palmares himself and is a phenomenal bike racer himself. And it's always great to see John mixing it up.
Oh yes, and I think on a course like this where it's savvy and it's you know, there's a lot of brain power going into what moves do you follow and how do you do it and where do you stay in the pack. I think John's going to have a really good chance at some results instead of just, you know, I see Charlie Rebell in there, some others who might not take as much of a tactical approach and might just be you know, just pushing out as many watts as they can possibly produce.
Yeah, Hamlin is hands down one of the smartest criterium racers I have ever met in my life. Just brilliant.
And now we're looking at the Cat 2 men, and it seems like most of these people have made it off the start line together, which is fantastic to see. You know, on a flat course like this, you want to make sure that there's no dropouts, nobody underestimating the difficulty of the start. So to have 30 some odd folks in the pack after 2 laps is awesome, as we see McLaughlin go off the front. Yeah, 34 riders online. That's including a camera. And there's 32 in this field. So, you know, phenomenal. Again, that physics upgrade or physics update that RGT did, you know, it's really created some great race tactics. McLaughlin here really going deep early in the race, 33.5K to go. He's got a good gap, but 187 BPM, man.
I'm having a heart attack thinking just
I know. That. But I think what he's going to experience here is the same thing we saw in that women's race. Nobody wants to miss out. So hopefully somebody is able to counterattack and go over the top and maintain this this herky-jerky, surgy kind of racing. Oh man, look at this update in the women's 3-4 race. It seems like Kirby has just put the dagger in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Eastman not trying to chase at all. Kirby really committed now, and I mean, just gone.
Wow, and that goes back to the point we talked about earlier with fueling and all the things that go into to racing on this platform, other than just putting down the power. Because it seemed like, you know, Eastman definitely had the power, and whether she used too much of it too early or you know, just bonked or what the deal is. You know, with 2K to go, it seems like we've shored up first and second place in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, that was, you know, Eastman was the aggressor early in the race, and even at the midway point, you know, really putting out some big numbers there, trying to, you know, ride Kirby off her wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it did not go as planned.
It did not, you know, and yeah, 120 BPM heart rate. It seems like she's really resolved herself to that second place. Oh man, as we go back to the Cat 2 field, who are just not happy riding together, you know.
No, you know, this is crit racing though. Attack, you know, attack, catch, counter, attack, catch, counter. Zapata here really going deep, trying to get off the front here, and you know, with a field of 34 riders, I mean, doing, you know, 36K on the uphill and 45K on the downhill. You know, it's just like in real life racing. You know, if the field's averaging 28 miles an hour, most likely a solo rider's not going to stay away for 30K.
Right, and that is one of the tricks in e-racing too, is having people able to follow your attack. You know, because a lot of the times one person will go shooting out of the group at these astronomical power numbers and then be all alone off the front, where what you actually want is cooperation, you know, because it's going to be very difficult for one person to hold off an entire field of riders. But if you have 4, 5, 6 riders with you and you're sharing that workload, then it becomes a lot more of a high pressure situation where you might be able to convince the field to let you go.
Yeah, you know, that's, I think that's the part that a lot of people forget when you are looking at how to, when you're looking at how a breakaway is going to stay away, right? It's 50% the rider or the breakaway doing the work to stay away, but you know, there's also a large portion of, I don't want to say laziness, but allowance by the field to let the breakaway go.
The field has got to say, I've had enough, we'll catch him later. That's the only way breakaway succeeds. As we see, I see Josh and Mr. Gussie repping the Jack Crew Project Echelon kits. That's always fun to see. I know Josh is actually a fantastic BMX racer as well.
Yeah, Gus is our official results person for the Echelon Racing League. Lives over in England and has coded out our entire results platform for us, and we really do thank him for that.
As we were seeing the end of this women's Cat 3-4 race that has given us so much entertainment and excitement, thank you, Kirby. Thank you, Eastman. This has been fantastic, and congratulations to Kirby for the win.
Yeah, phenomenal riding by all three riders. Just really great racing. Yeah, tremendous effort by everyone. So it looks like over here in the men's races, everyone is still together.
Everybody is still together. Yeah, and to your point, the Cat 2 men's race and the Pro men's race almost have the exact same distance to go. So there is almost no speed difference between any of these fields at this point. Everybody's just ripping along, trying to figure out each other and what their move is on how they intend to win this race.
Yeah, and this Cat 1 race is fast. I mean, you look at it, they're on the flats, they're doing, 45 to 48k per hour. I mean, you're talking, and those are real life crit speeds, they're right around 28 to 30 miles an hour. Right.
Yeah, it's super impressive to see. And in this Cat 1 field, it does look like we're going to have some team tactics going on, as Matt Moan, the perennial favorite for these amateur races, is going off the front, testing the legs a little bit. So we have a pretty stellar cast of both sprinters and breakaway riders in a lot of these fields, particularly the Cat 1 field.
Yeah, I'll be super interested to see how the team tactics play out in this Cat 1 field. Particularly, about half the field is riders from the Pro Series. When we do our Cat 1-2 qualifier, the Cat 1 and the Cat 2, the top 10, what we do is we remove the professional riders from the result, and then the remaining top 10 get the invite, so that they don't, we don't want to stack the community results with pro riders so that no one in the community gets the invite. That's not fair.
Right. So Frank, how does having a team or having teammates in these races impact the way that you're able to race?
I think, in my opinion, it makes your having a team is phenomenal, right? You're not worried about every move going up the road, because if you miss the move, hopefully a teammate has covered it. It's just like in real life, where, especially if you have 5 guys, if you're a solo rider against a team of 5, you don't know which one, you don't know what their team tactic is, you don't know what their plan is. And so if one of them goes up the road, for me personally, there's an anxiety side there where I have to cover that. What if it goes up the road? Great job to Kirby there on the Cat 3-4 finish. Again, phenomenal effort in a 2-person breakaway for 99% of the race, and then attacking late to distance Eastman there.
Yeah, wow, 3 watts a kilo for an hour and 11 minutes. Yeah, that's something to be proud of. Good job to both Kirby and Eastman. Looks like everybody's working hard. Nobody can take the first 20 minutes of these races off. I mean, it's just full gas for all these folks.
Exactly, right? It's looking at all these guys and girls with Coy up there in the top left. It's really interesting to see everyone's different pedaling styles. Schnipke up there in the middle, top middle, doing like 110 RPM.
Yeah.
Pedaling the cranks off his bike. Super interesting. Looks like in the Cat 4 race we got Klaus getting, they are distancing some riders off the back of that group. It looks like that in the Cat 4 race, there's a selection being made with 11 riders on the front there.
There is, and you can see all those red numbers and the fact that there's people both in front and behind Klaus. Things are really heating up where maybe they're catching people off guard. Oh yeah, the attacking is just nonstop here. Nobody's happy with the composition of this group, so they're just going to keep being aggressive until either the field is whittled down to where everybody's happy with it, or there's a breakaway group that rolls off the front. So this is tough racing. You see Kirby's now hitting the front at what is that, like 6 watts a kilo? So
yeah,
that is no joke.
Yeah, this race is definitely blowing up, and like we said, the first 20 minutes is if you can't be up there making the action, you're hoping you can hang on to it so that you're there once that lull happens.
Definitely. And you've seen some of these races, that Cat 4 being a great example, that there are several teammates who've made this selection, and now it's their responsibility to either keep the pace fast or continue to whittle down that group until it's something that they're happy with. So props to the 3 Project Echelon riders for making that split, and then it looks like there's 2 or 3 from another team, and then several solo riders as well.
Yeah, and one of the interesting parts with racing within RGT, just like in real life, you do have to kind of keep your head on a swivel.
Huge attack by my buddy Brad Boyders in the Cat 3 race.
Brad,
man.
Brad has been phenomenal at RGT racing. He upgraded a couple races ago from Cat 4 to Cat 3 after soloing a Cat 4 race, and I believe he got 3rd place in the last Cat 3 race. Really just improving time and time again, and really a savvy bike racer.
Yeah, Brad picked a great time, and it looks like the field is totally strung out, and hopefully some of these riders will recognize that and continue to put the pressure on. Yep, I see the red numbers coming. Let's see if anybody's ready and willing to counterattack this move, and continue to whittle down this field size. That was savvy racing by Brad too, because now he's back in the pack. He's not trying to make too much happen at the same time, and he's getting a little bit of a rest in the draft, which right now, if you look at some of those numbers in the top left corner, if you're in the draft, you're saving several hundred watts going down that false flat downhill. So really important to pay attention to that and pick your moments. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's really impressive, the aggressiveness of the racing in all 4 of these fields. It's just no holds barred racing right now. Look, another attack in the Cat 4 race from Hagen. It looks like they've whittled that group down a little bit smaller. A couple people dangling just off the back there in the Cat 4 race. Looks like we've got a little attack in the Cat 1 race. Not sure if it's an attack or if just someone stretching their legs.
Right, yeah. I think of any of these fields, the Cat 1 is going to be the most difficult to create a separation in, because these guys never, ever, ever want to miss a split. So they're going to sprint as hard as they can and make sure that they're still in connection with that front group. That's not to say that's the most exciting style of racing, but oh man, see what I mean? This Cat 4 race is just non-stop.
Yeah, no, this is really aggressive racing. 2 guys off the front now, Ripley and Kirby. Good gap to the field there, but the field not hesitating at all. They're working to bring it back.
Nope, and Kirby recognizes that, so he's going to go over the top of Ripley and trying to continue this pressure and see if he can cause another split in this Cat 4 race. I mean, these guys have got to just be on their hands and knees right now with how many accelerations and how much attacking has already happened, because this race started with a big group, same as all the other ones, and now there's what is this? There's less than 10 of them. There's 10 of them left in this front group. So alarm bells are ringing. Kirby's trying to make sure that he's not the one to miss out, that he's one of the aggressors. And now these Project Echelon and some of these other guys with teammates have got to work together and glue that back together.
Yeah, this is the type of racing, where when I'm racing it and there's just all these attacks, and you're always jumping, and then you look down at your computer on your handlebars and realize you're 18 minutes into a race, and there's, you're a third of the way done with it, and you just kind of, get a little sad because, this is the point of the race where I'm telling myself, if I'm hurting, they're hurting, and I just have to hang on because they can't keep this up the entire time.
Totally, and that elastic band is going to snap eventually. So making sure that you're conserving while also being present in the front of that race is very, very important. As we see, there's just 15 meters between these guys, and we page over, and there's a big attack by Sean Lister in this Cat 1 race.
Yeah, big move here. Lister was one of the community riders. He covered a couple of those moves early in the race as people were stretching their legs. Looks like we got Revel and Hodges bridging across to him. This could be dangerous.
Let's see. It's always a question. It looked like Revel was content on the wheel for a second, and that might have really messed up his ability to create separation.
Yeah, Andrew's on the front of the field, definitely working to bring it back.
Yeah, there's a ton of reluctance to let these guys get any kind of separation on the field, because they understand how dangerous that is. And then if a break forms and there's 2 or 3 teams in it, then this finger pointing happens, and nobody wants that to happen, where they're asking other people to do the work, or it becomes a little bit more tactical and complicated. So one of the ways, especially, is individual riders without teammates, to keep things together, makes it a little bit less stressful for you. So I totally understand where they're coming from.
And Lister is a Cat 1 on the road in real life, and 42-year-old, been around for quite a while. Really respect Palmares, over the last 10 years or so. And so he's most likely done this race before and is not a stranger to it. And knows how to race his bike.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a smart and savvy bike racer, and somebody we always enjoy racing with outside. So I imagine that nobody's complaining about his aggressive attacking style in these races either.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the guys, when you see him go up the road, or when you go up the road and he joins you, you get a little sigh of relief, because he's going to do his fair share.
Definitely.
Oh, Matt Usborne really putting the pressure down.
I'm hoping that some of these guys are watching the women's race before they go, because nobody seems to have had as much success attacking at any other point, except that spot that Ariel Coy identified as a great spot. So
here's a big move by Ehinger in the Cat 3 race,
with Beckett joining him.
Yep.
And let's see, it doesn't seem like they're pushing hard enough to create that separation, though, because that group behind them is matching their power numbers, and the power of that bunch is really going to glue things back together. So we hope that there's going to be a counterattack. It looks like the Project Echelon fellas have a couple guys in that group, and it would be great for one of them to launch over the top.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, oh wait, big move in the Cat 1 from BB. But again, yeah, the thing with this Cat 1 race, Zach, in my opinion, is they're doing 50K per hour. And when these attacks are going, and I mean, that means for a breakaway to succeed, that rider or that breakaway is going to have to roll at 34 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour average, and you just don't do that on a bike.
No, it's extremely difficult. Yeah. So I think that the attacking style is going to continue, and maybe once we're another 20 minutes into this race, they're going to be worn out, and that 3, 4, 5 kilometer go attack will become the one of the only cards that these guys can play to really create that meaningful separation from the group. But it's good to see that everybody's involved. Nobody's taking a pull off. They're immediately bunching up and getting back after it. So we see BB again, just trying desperately to get something to happen.
Yeah, he's really keeping the pace high, stringing it out. Eric Hill, Project Echelon, and Matt Usborne right there, as well as Blackburn from Restart Racing. Big little selection here with a gap to the main field. Someone needs to keep the power on to keep it going, to get this elastic to pop.
You get the sense that we're getting close. And then just, yep, there we go. A couple riders going off the back. So each one of these attacks is making a lasting impact on the group. It's just a matter of how and the timing and the makeup of the attack that actually sticks. It's always kind of a mystery.
Yeah, it always, there should be alarm bells sounding in everyone's screen when you see the Matt Usborns and the Eric Hills going to the front and getting in the moves, because that's when business time.
Right, yeah. As we see Morrison with about 100-foot lead over his field, and he's doing some big power numbers. And I think he really understands that the way to create a breakaway in these races is you gotta suck it up and do a 45-second or even a minute long, very high intense effort and just commit to it.
Yeah, it does look like the field is, there is a pointy end on this field. They are trying to bring him back, but they're not super committed to it. All it takes is that one little hesitation for him to get out of sight.
And his teammates are doing a good job of just clumping up near the front and making it more and more difficult to get around them to organize the chase. That's good on them. But it does appear like he's going to get caught again. I mean, this is fantastic racing by these Cat 3s. They've really reduced their total group size, and they're going to make it a very interesting last 18K of this race if they keep this up.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if we have a counter go here.
Oh, please.
There it goes.
There it goes.
Brad Borders with the counter attack. Phenomenal move by the Project Echelon rider.
See, Brad is setting the example. You just have to follow Brad's wheel. And if he can get 2 or 3 guys to join him, I think it's really going to be a more successful endeavor than trying to go solo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, Brad's rolling at 25 miles an hour-ish. And so, that's a tough move. That's a tough effort for anyone to be making. But it does look like he's got a rider trying to bridge across to him.
Is that rider lapped?
I do believe that could be a lapped rider, yeah, because he's not showing up on the list there.
I was going to say, I was looking at the list on the side of the screen and it looked like a Project Echelon guy was in second. And I was like, these boys know better than to chase their teammates.
But it does look like this Cat 3 group is down to about 17 riders, though, from the original 28.
Yeah, and our Cat 4 men have even less in their lead bunch. Everybody's really embraced this attacking style up to this point, and it doesn't seem like it's quitting at all, with Kirby going off the front or trying to in that Cat 4 race, and really just continuing to push the pace and put everybody under pressure, with Schindler trying to close that gap down, which will potentially open up everybody for another counterattack.
Yeah, this Cat 4 race, they started with, I think there were 27 riders at the beginning. This front group's down to 9 now, and there's an attack there from Schnipke, just non-stop
Attacking. You love to see it, and this is so reminiscent of what happens in Indianapolis every year during this Momentum Indy Crit Weekend. Just fast, flat-out racing, start to finish, and it's great as a spectator and as a bike racer to be there and participate in stuff like this.
And this is what we talked about, Zach. This is dangerous. We've got 3 riders linking together here off the front now in the Cat 4 race. If they get, 2. Schnipke's trying to get back in contact with them, but if these guys get organized, this could be the move.
Kirby recognizes it. You got to hit the boosters, boys. You got to commit. It's going to be a hard 2 minutes.
Yeah, they really need to get that gap out to about 100 meters. If they can get out to about 50, there's a little bit of a breathing room, but 100 meters or so is when you can really start to settle in and assess.
Definitely, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is very happy that they're still out there and rolling, so I think this chase effort might end up bringing them back.
But it does look like they're gapping a few people with that chase effort.
It does, and that makes it so much more important. And when you come back from your breakaway attempt to the main pack, you gotta recognize that, right? You gotta count heads and see who's left, and know that you're making an impact. And maybe it's the next attack that can really break things apart. And it seems like we had some action happen in the Cat 1 field where now they're reducing their field size as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're losing a rider or two every lap in that Cat 1 field. And again, I mean, look at it, they're doing 48k an hour on the uphill section. I mean, it's just a massively fast race.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to finish in about 48 minutes at this point. BB's getting distanced. All that early aggression. It looked like either maybe he got chopped out of one of the corners, or he's just tired from all that early aggression. You know, you never know. Oh, there you go. Zero watts. That's day done for BB.
That's unfortunate. That's no bike racer, you know, we've all experienced it at least once, but it's the, you know, you put in the big effort, you get the gap opens just a little and you put in that big effort to try to get back, and you just watch the field ride away from you. It's a terrible feeling.
It is very tough. But that's what happens, you know, as these races go on, it's going to be more and more tired legs. And if you're caught sleeping at the back of the field when an attack goes, you may not ever see the front again. So you've got to stay vigilant and keep paying attention and just embrace the aggressive style of racing.
Yeah, you know, I compare, it is very similar to road racing, but I really compare racing on RGT to mountain bike racing, and that you have to stay hyper aware the entire race. It is a mentally taxing style of racing.
You do, definitely. And we see Bowen giving it a shot. These guys are just having trouble creating separation. They're going 50 kilometers an hour right now. It's if you've ever hit the wind going 31, 32 miles an hour, it's like opening up your parachute. So because RGT is so realistic, it's very difficult for these guys to create meaningful separation with these big attacks they're making.
Yeah, I mean, Bowen was doing 550 watts there and going nowhere from that field.
Yeah, so it's important to pick your points. Again, you know, raw power is going to get you somewhere, but it's not going to get you as far in these kind of races unless you really time it to perfection. This Cat 2 field is suffering the same thing, where we see some guys sprinting to get back on the back.
Yeah, look at those
of a
gaps.
much reduced field.
Those are some big gaps opening in the back there. And that's the thing, right? Like, if you're having to sprint back onto the back of the field, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you know, you're getting almost more worn down than the people attacking. Oh, yeah. Alex Sinkovic with a big attack in the Cat 1 race.
He's at that 100 foot. He's about a third of the way there to what a real gap would be, to put him, you know, in a legitimate chance to having success in this breakaway. So hopefully someone's able to bridge across to him. We see the same thing in the Cat 3 race. A legit gap of 50 meters happening. This could be something significant that could stick.
Yeah, this is definitely dangerous.
And maybe it's a result of all of that attacking that they've already done up to this point, but it doesn't seem like they're as motivated to chase. As we see Hendricks hitting some big red numbers, maybe the alarm bells are sounding and he's going to pick up the chase and close this gap for everybody else.
Yeah, and again, like we said, you know, he's, you know, Klingsgaard's off the front doing 24, 25, 26 miles an hour. That's a hard effort to sustain for, you know, 14K.
It is. And,
especially when you've been covering attack and attack and attack time and time again for the first, you know, half hour of the race.
Right. It really wears on you. And it appears that those Cat 4s are at it again, where they're making a 3-man breakaway a distinct possibility, you know, with these guys separating from the rest of the pack. Whether they can work together and actually keep increasing their lead, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But it seems like they're figuring it out, and they're, you know, willing to do the hard work and try and make this thing stick.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to give it to them to right now, halfway through a little over halfway of the race, this Cat 4 race gets the most aggressive award. These guys are just not giving anything. It looks like we got one guy trying to. Yeah, let's see if Martin can get there.
And trust us, man. If there's anybody left in that chasing pack who can give any kind of effort, they're going to make it right now. Alarm bells are sounding. This could be the 4-man breakaway that makes it all the way to the finish.
If Martin can get there, he does seem to be. It's that. When you want to get across to a breakaway like this, especially in a crit, it's get across, execute quickly. Because the longer you're out there trying to bridge, the harder it's going to be.
He's got to give everything right now, especially with these lap riders. He could get hung in a corner and that could be it. So he's got to quickly make this bridge attempt or it's just not going to happen. Oh, and he's so close.
He really but that gap's opening up.
Everybody who's ever raced a bike race is feeling for this guy right now, and just give him all your energy, guys, because this is no man's land, as we call it. This is the most painful place to be in a bike race, where this chasing group is probably going to swallow him up, and whether he has any energy left to get with them or not, it's going to be tough for the next couple minutes for Martin.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal effort by Martin to try to get across. He was right there and just couldn't close those last 5 or 6 bike lengths.
Oh, and I'm holding my breath because I'm looking at him on the screen, and I don't know if he's caught back on or he just had to go straight through the back of the field. But now we see these Project Echelon guys. They really got to get organized, or they're just going to miss out on an opportunity to win this race.
Yeah, that gap's, it's approaching that 100-meter mark we were talking about. It does look like really our breakaway is.
Yeah, you see Fielder in 11th place is a lap down. This has been some extremely aggressive racing so far.
Yeah, these guys are not, they're super organized and they are not letting up. This is a great breakaway effort by these 3 riders.
Yep. Oh man, look at the organization here. You see all the same team colored jerseys at the front of this race right now.
Yeah, so Restart Racing here, they are one of the more savvy e-racing teams out there right now, and super strong. Oliver Dowd, who is in this racer for Restart, won the crit last weekend at Joe Martin stage race, and they know how to race a bike.
Yeah, and it's getting down to crunch time for these guys. We haven't seen a lot of this race because they've been kind of rolling around as a blob and just dropping 1 or 2 riders each lap. But if anybody's going to throw down some WAP bombs, right now is the time to do it.
Yeah, when they come around, they're going to have 4 to go, and it does look like Restart Racing is getting organized. Jamrozic trying to get off the front there.
Yeah, they're just some big watts, and I think it's going to cause a big response from the field, or they're just going to have to let him go because they're too tired to respond to it. So let's hope he's got something in the tank and can kind of hold this effort for the next minute or so.
Yeah, 6 watts per kilogram for 7K at the end of a crit. That's a large ask.
It's a big ask, yeah, and I think he's rethinking his life choices up to this point as he is absorbed back into the field. But if these guys have any intentions of making a breakaway stick, it's got to continue at this clip. And we see Matt Moan going off the front, recognizing that, hey, maybe there's some tired legs from this aggressive style of racing, but hopefully that's not his teammate chasing him back.
Yeah, no, I do believe Alphen is one of the community riders.
I see the difference in the jersey. Okay.
Well, no, it's the same jersey, but again, with RGT, you can, the jerseys are all public, and the community riders who aren't on teams can pick whatever jersey they want. But yeah, Moan put in a big move here. I don't think he's getting away though, and he swallowed. All right, Eric, we're at 4 laps to go. Who's your pick in the Cat 1 race?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think I really like I think Matt Moan has a really good chance. I think he's a really savvy sprinter. He's doing some pretty ludicrous watts every time I've watched him, and he's been able to make the pro team for in short presented by Pedal Power by his raw strength in some of these amateur races.
And I'll give you my pick as soon as we talk about this Cat 3 race with Barg off the front now.
And this is a legit gap again. Yeah. It seems like if you look back at the field, they're doing a full watt per kilo less than him on the front. So, you know, if he's able to grit his teeth and really keep pushing on, then this could really become something.
Yeah, what he really needs, and we've talked about it before, especially on this downhill where the field has the benefit, you know, he really needs a rider or two to bridge across. I think for one rider, 9K is too far. So it's a bridge too far, if you will. But you know, if he can get a rider to join him.
And this is a good teaching moment for all the people listening to this. You know, if you're in a race, don't be so willing to close the gap. You know, look for an opportunity where you can shoot across that gap and bring fewer people with you. You know, so we just saw them go up the one really slight incline on the course. So if people had timed that with interest to get across to Barg, they could shoot across that gap and join him and maybe work with him and create a little bit more of a breakaway style racing than the field chasing one rider.
And, you know, it's funny, Barg's gap is coming down, but he is not relenting. He is staying on the power.
And yeah, you got to be careful about that too, because then you're just getting a good workout in and not really having as much impact on the field. You know, if he's holding this gap at 10 meters, then they're almost at a point where they can draft off of him.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to get caught here in a few minutes. So this Cat 1 race, we're down to 4K to go. Still a large group.
As we see Andrews taking a flyer here. And I think Andrews understands as good as anybody that this effort has to hurt if he's going to make any kind of impact over the next couple kilometers.
Yeah, and John Hamlin not hesitating to him and Moan to bring it back very quickly.
Oh, and then right over the top. This is perfect. This is how it happens. Jam Rozic is not taking a second off. You know, as soon as they catch him, and he immediately gets a 40-meter gap on the field. This is an important point in this race.
And yeah, 10 watts per kilogram, 9 watts per kilogram. He is, you know, these are those efforts we were talking about. It has to hurt. You have to go deep and hard to you know, snap that rubber band.
50 meters. Yeah, these teams behind have got to respect this move. And the fact that this is a restart racing rider gives him a distinct advantage. Because now they can sit back and prepare for the final 2 laps of this race with a rider out front, forcing everybody else to do the work.
Yeah, this is a really impressive move by Jam Rozic.
Yeah, now the question is can he get down this downhill with any significant gap left? Because this field is just going to roll at 50 plus kilometers an hour down this small downhill. And even onto the uphill, if you don't have another rider with you, the field is just going to swallow you up because they just roll over those slight inclines so much quicker than you do as a solo rider. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, he's not relenting though, and you know he really is trying to. You know, I think you know he's the sacrificial lamb for restart racing. He was sent out there to make people work to set up maybe Oliver Dowd or Mike Swart for restart to field sprint.
Definitely. And what we're looking for now is the exact same thing to happen again. Another rider to come shooting out of the pack, and continue to put teams on the defensive, make them use their riders up so that it's not such a large, fresh group going to the finish line.
Back to who my pick is for this race, because
I forgot to ask.
I can't not pick someone. I'm really, you know, I think yeah, that's tough.
There's so many good guys.
You know what? I'm going to stay loyal to the team. I'm going to go with John Hamlin.
There you go.
I think Hamlin's got a good this is a good course for him.
It definitely is, and if timing and savvy were all it took to win these races, I think John would win them all.
Absolutely.
It's just the matter of, can he do 15 watts per kilogram on his trainer for about 20 seconds. So, but that's a good choice.
One to go. One to go.
And now we're seeing, a little bit more labored pedaling style by a lot of these guys. The race is really starting to take its toll on them. And with one to go, what you're going to see is a formal lead out train by Restart Racing. These last lap flyers, I don't think are going to get anywhere. John Hamlin on the front, immediately trying to close his gap.
That doesn't bode well for my pick for who's going to win the sprint if he's putting the effort out now.
Yeah, I saw Matt Moan doing 0 watts a kilo there for a second, so he might be trying to position himself and ready to just explode out of this group. But
and Oliver Dowd, and Oliver Dowd's been up in the top 5, doing 2 watts per kilogram. There goes Blackburn for Restart Racing now. And
this just looks so difficult. It's going to be probably on this last lap. 7 watts a kilo average, and then you're going to be asked to sprint on top of that. But they're down within the last 300 meters of this race.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I don't even know how to call this. Here we go. Dowd starting early.
Yep.
Max power going.
Oh man, that's close.
Oh, this is crazy.
We're a little bit down on the results list, so we don't even know who won yet.
I don't know if that was a phenomenal field sprint, played out exactly how Indy does play out in real life, and just phenomenal effort by those riders.
Right, and now we're immediately onto the Cat 2s, who have about 2.2 kilometers left. They're about to see the bell. We're about to see the start finish with 1 to go, and it looks like it's going to be the exact same thing, where these guys are going to be very close to each other and watching each other, and not going to be letting anything go. No last lap flyers, I don't think, where Klingsgaard's out on his own with about a 50-meter gap, but he's got a little bit more work to do with about 4 kilometers remaining.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, with this Cat 2 field, there's not as much team tactics involved. You've got, looks like 1 team with a couple riders in there, maybe 2 teams with a couple riders, but for the most part, it's a bunch of individuals. Mike Lister and
Sean Lister, unbelievable.
Wow. Matt Moan taking 3rd, Chris Ray 4th. That's a phenomenal result from Mike Lister. One of the really great RGT community riders. Puts on the team time trial series, the MRE TTT time series on RGT, and just super savvy with the platform.
Yeah, congrats to Mike. After such a fast, hard race, to pull off a result in this race, that's no joke. Congrats, Mike.
And you know what was interesting? Not once did we say his name during the entire race. He stayed hidden the entire time until it mattered.
Yep, and that's the mark of somebody who is going to be fresh for the sprint, right? Is that you can't have your nose out in the wind until it matters right at the last second. And we see a last lap flyer with about a K to go from Laubach. Let's see if he can hold it. This one's going to hurt, man. He does have a little gap, and it doesn't look like the response is coming very quickly. About 750 meters to go, though. They're going to start winding this up. Hazara looking like he's in kind of panic mode, and he's going to go flying right by Neubauer in order to chase us back. But so far, this gap is holding. This
is a great effort. 500 meters to go. It's going to be
400.
close.
This going to be very close. As soon as these guys open their sprint up, they're going to close this gap down very, very quickly, though. So, go ahead and call this Frank. He just froze.
We're at 250 meters to go. He's just getting caught right now. Great effort by Low back there. We're into the sprint. Only about 10 people in the sprint, though.
Oh, it looked like Edward just opened up with a massive sprint.
Massive
man.
sprint.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is really, really impressive power, and he put it down right at the end of the race where it really, really mattered. So I think, yeah, Edwards would be the obvious winner of that one.
Yeah, that was a great sprint by Edwards. Cat 3 race with a lap and a half to go. Well, a little less than a lap and a half.
You know, and this has actually been one of the more exciting and tactical races. You know, these Cat 3s are just as strong as everybody else, and there's not as much team representation or tactical drama that they have to deal with, and they've just been racing full gas the entire race.
Yeah, these guys have to be exhausted. Absolutely exhausted.
And I think what we'll see is they just are about to hit one lap to go, is a lot less control in this race. So we might actually be able to see that last lap flyer that Hendricks has taken be able to pay off. So yeah, okay. As we see in the Cat 2s, Reese Edwards with a monster sprint finishing that one off.
Yeah, that was a great effort by Edwards there to win that sprint. Congrats to Souders, McLaughlin, and Hazara and Floyd for the top 5 there. Row bottoms, phenomenal. Jurgen Janssen, Josh Richards, and Tim Mitchell. Curious if that's the Tim Mitchell.
You know, it'd be interesting, right? If it is Tim Mitchell, is he, 150 miles into his ride for the day, or?
He started his race at 7 a.m.
Right, exactly. Oh, now we see McDaniel going over the top of Hendricks. Given this last kilometer, everything he's got, this is a good move, especially with Brad Borders and Morrison back in the field.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a great team execution here.
And Klingsgaard's got to be careful, man, because he's been, very aggressive all race, and it seems like he's just gluing this back together. And without a teammate in the field that he's working for, it seems like he's expending a lot of energy with 600 meters to go.
Yeah, I think this is a good move for Brad Borders. This is really setting up the Project Echelon guys who have been aggressive all day for this win.
Yeah, and where you're going to see in about 200 meters time is these guys really start to explode, and the true sprinters be able to unleash that sprint. So now we see everybody in the red numbers. Uncorking. Oh man, as Klein goes racing by, I think he might have gone a little bit too early though. Yep, there you go. He's getting caught. Yoder.
And there's Brad Borders.
Brad Borders, just as you called it. Awesome. That's great racing with Klein in second and Hendricks in third.
Yeah, great racing from everyone in this Cat 3 race. Definitely one of the more exciting, aggressive races of the day.
Oh, and then we go back to our lone breakaway of the day between Kirby and Ripley. This is fantastic.
Well, Schindler was with him. It was a group of 3. I'm not sure when Schindler got dropped. He's about 70 meters behind.
It looked like it was recent, yeah, and hopefully he didn't make the same mistake as some of the riders in the earlier races of doing too much work. And now he is paying the price for it.
Yeah, so this is one of those, with it being a group of 2, they've got a good gap on the rest of the field, but Schindler could have a chance of getting back if these two start looking at each other.
It looked like he's digging pretty deep. So these two have to continue to work together and maintain the speed, or he's going to come right back up to him and then probably roll right straight through him. But yeah, this is probably the most tactical race of the day, as far as these two have to figure it out amongst themselves on who's going to be the winner. Oh man, there you go. In the Cat 3 is Brad Borders with the win. Rob Klein averaging some pretty unreal watts per kilo in that race for second. I think he countered himself and was able to sprint about 4 separate times in that last kilometer. Super impressive riding. And then Hendricks, Morrison, and Beckett round out the top 5. So congrats to those guys.
Yeah, great job to all the racers so far today. Just really phenomenal bike racing. And Kirby attacks Ripley.
Interesting. Yep. And you see the response. So Ripley's got to get back in that draft as soon as possible.
Yeah, this is just going to be a drag race at this point. 800 meters to go.
Yeah, and you can see he's not getting any draft. It's raw power versus raw power at this point. He's got to make up another about 10 meters on Kirby before he starts getting any kind of reprieve from being in the draft. So this is brutal. This is all out racing. Who's got the most left in the tank? This is going to hurt as we see Kirby dip below that red number there for a second, but it seems like he is committed. This is an all-in move by Kirby, and Ripley seems to be closing the gap behind him. So now he's almost getting into that draft with 300 meters to go, and it's going to be oh man, as they both dip below red there for a second, it's going to be very close between these two.
I think Kirby's going to get it.
Nope, Ripley's in the draft.
Oh,
Ripley
you're right. You're right. Yeah, Ripley. Yeah, yep. Ripley's got it.
Unbelievable.
Good move by Kirby to try to get it.
Oh man, but Ripley has got to be tasting that copper you were talking about. Just full gas all the way to the finish, and able to just outsuffer Kirby in the moment. Just that 150 meters longer. So really impressive ride by both those guys who've been out in the break for at least the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was really great riding. Not really sure what happened to Schindler there, but great job to keep the power on to come in for third there. And
then Schnipke's trying to avoid the bunch sprint at all costs and giving it the gas right now. But this race for fourth place is going to be really interesting with 600 meters to go. I think he might have gone a little bit too early if this was his plan. It looks like Cron is totally okay with doing the work, and Fitzgerald and Martin are just sitting on the wheel waiting. Now Cron has made it across. He's gonna make contact with Schnipke and roll right by him, I bet. Yep.
Yeah, Schnipke sat up. That was an all-in move. Schnipke's at 0 watts per kilogram. Full commit. I like it.
What a heartbreaker, yeah. So got to measure your effort a little bit better than that, and you'd probably end up on the podium still. So we see Cron at 4 watts a kilo, just trying his best to hold off the surge from Fitzgerald, and I think he might end up doing it.
Yeah, great move there by Cron to slow walk Schnipke back and then go over the top there for fourth.
And Fitzgerald rounding out our podium in fifth.
Yeah, great racing by everyone. Just phenomenal efforts from all of our fields. Congrats to those who qualified for the pro race next weekend. And I hope everyone is using their Hyper Ice recovery products tonight to get ready for the Dirty River race tomorrow.
Oh man, I know I am. I'm debating on racing that race. I mean, it just looks so much fun, a race on virtual gravel roads where the speed is down and the watts per kilo are up. That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Zach, thanks for joining me.
Yes, it was fun.
Yeah, great racing. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors: USA Cycling, RGT, Biomoto, Hyperice, Saurus, and absolutely ZMS Livestream. And everyone, get some recovery in them, and we will see you tomorrow.
See ya. Thanks.